Okay. We do have an emotional support TikTok that I will finish when I take breaks. I love this top. Yeah, okay. Zoey Dean's Talent. This is another book from my personal library. I bought it in either 6th or 7th grade. And it even says on the back, Scholastic Book Fair Edition. Do my other copies say that? Do I have other people's Scholastic Book Fair books? No, they don't. My book is special. Okay, so it's like, it's so tiny. It's got some pullouts. It's perfect. I think it's very similar to like the Click books, where you're like, any of these girls can be anybody, but the problem is that there is a mixed race character, and she's the only thing close enough to being mixed race. But you know, cutesy little white children. Ooh. So check out my Zoey Dean deep dive. That was a fun little romp that we went on together. We went together. And very similar to the structure of the Click books, there is little blurbs on the back from each character. So let's go. Emily Munger. Wavy-haired, rosy-cheeked, Emily can't believe she's finally visiting LA from Nowheresville, Iowa. Too bad her mom thinks Hollywood is all about wax museums and tar pits. Emily desperately wants to see Davy Woodward, her star crush. If only she could make it past the velvet rope and into the premiere party for his new movie. Mac Little Armstrong. Mac is the undisputed leader of Bel Air Middle School and the daughter of the most powerful talent agent in LA. She's yawning through yet another premiere party when she spots wide-eyed Emily faking out the bouncer with an Oscar-worthy performance. Emily, Mac realizes, has talent. But does Mac have what it takes to make this talented nobody a superstar? With a little help from her glamorous best friends, Coco Kingsley and Evangelina Bex, Mac vows to turn this natural actress into an overnight sensation. It's West Coast meets Midwest in the story of two 12-year-old girls, their meteoric rise at the top, and the friends who hang out for the star-studded ride. You know what? At least say it with your whole chest if you're gonna weirdly have two side characters that don't do anything the entire book. I'm looking at you, Kirsten and Dylan. I'm still in the middle of scripting my Click video, and I'm reminded how little they give those girls to do in the first couple of books. They are simply wall hangings that go, yeah! Yeah. I read this book kind of quickly. I absorbed it. I just took it with me everywhere for a month. And that's just because I was busy. It's a vacation. From May 19th until June 9th. One thing I did notice is this book is kind of poorly edited. It's a good thing I speak illiterate because I am illiterate. So, yeah. This is a pretty good book. I think I gave it I don't remember what I gave it on Goodreads, but I would say it's like a 3 or 4 out of 5. In this genre of book I've read, it's a 4. It's like a 4 out of 5. It was satisfying. So, like, I really enjoyed this book. Ate it, consumed it, ate it all up, no crumbs. Excuse me, it's kind of like a first date after a breakup. I cannot help but compare this book and this series of books to The Clique, as they're very similar. It's just West Coast. It's West Coast Massie block. But after consuming the story of the first book no less than 4 or 5 times at this point, I don't like the first Clique book. And if that had been the book that had to introduce me to the series instead of where I came in, like, on, like, the end, I don't think I would have as fond a memory of it to come back to it and reread them. I like this one, though. The story was, like, fun, and, like, her friends are her friends, and they also still act like 12-year-olds. And it's not just, like, Massie being, like, a terrorist dark cloud, the literal Darth Maul, you know, crawling across into rooms and then absolutely destroying the vibe for everyone else. You know. Okay, so, God. So the motif around this series is, like, it's 2008. We're some modern girlies. What do modern girlies communicate with? iPhones. 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 So an iPhone-like display is the chapter markers, and it kind of tells you what we're doing in each chapter. Oh, excuse me. All the girls of the inner circle, the IC, are all, they all have synced calendars and displays for their iPhones. 3 of our protagonists have iPhones. With one girl, she has a paper schedule written on a piece of paper. It's loose leaf. Probably even a journal. We don't know. We start with Mac Mackenzie Little Armstrong, daughter of Adrian Little Armstrong, and some dude. I've been referring to him as Punce. I don't actually remember his name. That's not even really important. When have the dads ever been important? Oh, it's late. So who cares? Her father. Mac is like a planner. And you know, I respect a planner girly. Hold up, let me show you. Let me show you what I bought today. It's from the store Unicorn Eclipse. Hold up, actually. I figured out how to get this to work so that it's readable. But, very beauty guru of me. But I got a sticker. It's a planner sticker for my planner because I'm about that life. I respect these girls. They're in control. They're planners. Mac planning out her day to the minute, making sure she's got her outfit selected, the direction to the cafe she's going, making sure she's tan, confirming her outfit against her tan, confirming her friends' outfits, you know. It's totally fine when you're trying to be lycra instead of when you're trying to be lycra instead of rayon. You know, Massie type. So Mac is reading through a magazine and she finds that her family was in a profile. However, so she wasn't around. She was at summer camp, trying to find out what she's good at. Like her little sister is a genius, her brother is a surf prodigy, her mother is the first female partner at Initiative Talent Agency, and her father is a rock star movie producer. They live in Hollywood. Mac is very insecure about this. What is her talent? What is her thing? She's running for social chair. Social chair is like head bitch in charge at BAM, Bel Air Middle School. Social chair is like being a school-run official pretty committee. They're like the tastemakers, the controller of the school. Social chair was the most coveted position at BAM's, aka Bel Air Middle School, because it basically meant being elected a school-wide VIP. The SC represents the student body to the administration on all things fun, and she, yes, she is always a she, picked performers at school dances, Justin T, check, and made recommendations to the school cafeteria. Soy lattes, double check. One year, the SC even chose new gym uniforms, bringing Burberry plaid minis back. Check plus. Come on, Nicki Minaj. Mac is running for social chair, and her biggest competition is Ruby Goldman. I have an honest question for those that are socially and culturally Jewish. What does it mean when a Jewish author in a Hollywood setting makes the villain of your story, even if it's a children's story, a coded Jewish name? She's never said to be Jewish, but she has a coded Jewish name. Her father works in Hollywood. The only reason I kind of balk at not just outright being like, yikes in this economy, no, is because after my research, we know that half of the duo for Zoey Dean is a Jewish man. I don't think they ever said if the wife converted or if she is Jewish. It's not important. It is important, but they didn't give me that information, so I'm not going to speculate. I'm curious about that. That what essentially boils down to the kind of the crux of the story being the equivalent of a bat mitzvah. And the girls, she's like the villain who steals. I don't know, I don't love it. I know that it's like, you cannot have black villains, but, you know, it'd be kind of like, it's kind of like unfriendly black hottie as a character construct, where it's like, why did you need to do that? Unless the story takes place in a black high school, in which the majority of characters are black, and it'd be weird if you just flew in a white person to be the villain. It's weird if you do. I feel like it's weird if you make, like, the only other characters, like, none of our main characters are coded Jewish, and then we just have Ruby Goldman, coded Jewish, Kimmy Tackman, coded Jewish, and those two are kind of our big, like, mean girl duo. I don't know. Please let me know your thoughts down below. So, Mac's crew, her inner circle, includes Evangelina Bex, the daughter of like a Johnny Knoxville style type guy, who had a prank show like Jackasses, and after a particularly harsh prank and like 15 years of doing this shit, his body kind of gave in and he was like, oh, I gotta take it slow, because he's the only one. He's her daughter's caretaker. So they live right on the beach in Malibu. And Bex is like Bex, as she goes by her last name, is like a surfing prodigy. She's real cool. She lives right next door to this boy. She's tall. She's a tomboy. God, not tall boy. She's a tomboy. But she really does enjoy the feminine aspects. She likes to get dressed up with her friends, go hang out. She wants to be perceived by the male species. She can be, quickly summed up as the Katy Perry song, One of the Boys. She is like getting to the point where she's reading Mary Clary and putting on lip gloss. Almost missed my own lip. And I have my mirror on my desk. We just gotta hope. But she's got a dead mom, Disney princess style. So she's, she's trying. She's got a boy best friend, Austin, my least favorite male character archetype, which is, excuse me, God, I hate my female best friend or my girlfriends, other friends. They're so girly. They suck. You're not like other girls. See Cam in the Click books. A lesser extent Austin in Secrets of My Hollywood Life. Like, some men are annoying. Period, poo. He's got a mean name for them, calling them the Ick, the I-C-K. But don't worry, Mac also kind of hates him. So she doesn't even hate him. She's just like, not here. She's like, rough. But whatever, we'll deal with that. I don't expect middle school boys to fully understand the experience of a teenage girl. But God, this is an upsetting motif. I hate it. Like, I hate it when girly girls and, like, being mean and bitchy, and it's, like, literally hating each other for fun, but, like, teenage boys and, like, middle school boys do the same thing with hazing, and it's, like, fine, because they're not being catty about it, they're being straight up, but I've seen some little boys play some psyop, so sure, I guess. Whatever. I just don't subscribe to that. The third friend in the inner circle is Coco, Cordelia Kingsley, daughter of Cardamom. Kind of a scary spice type, British pop, black British pop star. She's got a dad. He's a hotel mogul. They're divorced. We're mostly focused on Cardamom for this book, so that's what we'll focus on. We're just going to ignore the storm. It is June. This is Florida. Cardamom, she's a pop star, 10 years out of her prime. She's decided to switch from music to being like a fashion designer, interior designer, again, like posh spa, like all the Spice Girls put in a blender and you pour them out. And that is Cardamom. She's a spice. She's a spice. I want to make money off of her. Want to get her back into the studio. You know, there's some Twitter gay in this universe who's got an entire account devoted to fan cams of her from the year 1982. So with all the girls, Mac is really trying to decide what she's gonna do. What's her talent? She's got to find her talent and win social chair, because all the other social chairs have had like a thing. They've all done a thing. One of them become like, on the day she wins social chair, she announces her record deal. One of them was an actress. Like, there's a thing that you do to get the chair. Alright, so we got one more character to meet, really 3, but Emily and Paige's LA itinerary is written in hand printed on a piece of paper. It's September 1st, and what is described as the most glamorous day for an 8th grader in 2009? I was a 6th grader in 2009. 9 a.m. Eco Lodge breakfast. Don't load up on it just because it's free. Celeb sighting potential, 0. 11 a.m. Universal Studios tour. Celebrities sighting potential, 0. 1 p.m. lunch at a Universal City Walk. Celebrity sighting potential, 0. 3 p.m. Hollywood Wax Museum. Big old goose egg. We compare this to Mac's very glamorous day in 2008 to the much more economical, Midwestern middle class trip to LA. The thing that I missed at the end of the last chapter is that Mac's mom, Adrienne, is trying to fill the female role for Davy Woodward's new movie. And they need someone cute and around that age of, 12, 13. Like, the idea that they'd pay a 12-year-old to play a 12-year-old instead of having a 14, 16, 18-year-old try and play a 12-year-old is, Hollywood. It's a fictional book, but whatevs. Davy Woodley. Emily and Paige are obsessed with celebrities, and most of all, Davy Woodward, Emily Munger, and her best friend Paige Harrington try and kiss a Davy Woodward statue. They're in there with their mom. Her mom's like woo-woo crystal girly. My crystals will guide me to whatever is important. She's reading The Secret, not to sound like a hater, but I can't think of something more 2008 than looking for guidance in The Secret. So, like, her crystals guided her. She's a nurse, and the crystals guide her to win the raffle for some money. And she decides to use that money to take Emily and her best friend Paige out to LA. They're from Cedartown, Iowa, and they spent all their time, Paige and Emily spent all their time reading celebrity gossip rags and magazines and watching the celebrity shows. And they're a little bummed because they thought they'd be seeing the celebrities, meeting the celebrities, being the celebrities. And they've spent all their time going to kitschy tourist attractions and doing the same things they would have been doing at home. Because this is like bitchy. Like, I kind of love that the Clara character isn't just a pushover and isn't just like uber sweet and like just right off the bus. I'm gonna plug my phone in. Slay! Slay! Alright, cool. Emily Munger and her best friend Paige Harrington were staring at Davy Woodward's shiny black hair and dimpled chin. They were oblivious to the fact that Emily's mother, Lori Munger, was snapping pictures of their magical moment. "It's so great to finally meet you," Emily said to Davy, looking right at him with her big brown eyes and her rosy cheeks aglow. "You're even cuter in person than you are on TV." Paige chimed in like Emily. She also had apple red cheeks, but she had frizzy brown hair and tiny Renee Zellweger eyes. At Cedar Middle's... "You're even cuter in person than you are on TV," Paige chimed in. Like Emily, she also had apple red cheeks, but she had frizzy brown hair and tiny Renee Zellweger eyes. At Cedartown Middle School, where Paige and Emily would soon be 8th graders, people said, not to her face of course, that Paige was the slightly less cute and slightly fatter version of Emily. They also said that Emily was snobby and aloof, not to her face either. Really, Emily was just a little shy and very pretty and didn't care all that much about what the other kids thought, which of course made them care more about her. Get this not like other girls bitch out of my face. See, that's a problem, is I want to make merch with things that I say, and I feel like having a sticker, like a really cute soft light design sticker that says it's okay to call a 12-year-old a bitch, while being on brand for this channel, would not play well in real life. Bratty. They're all kind of bratty. They're made for each other. Emily is more aloof and somehow hotter version. Very, like, she's not like her earnest friend. It's like, no, that friend has passion. She's zesty. She's got a zest for life. And she's also fat. The worst thing you can be in 2008 as a teenage girl is be fat and passionate about things. We are so deep with irony poisoning. I think it would turn you blue like colloidal silver. The girls are best friends. They are even dressing up in the same outfits. That Paige sewed herself. So that they could look exactly alike, and that people would ask them if they were twins while they were in LA. They have friendship bracelets that say Paige is my best friend and Emily is my BFF. Emily walking around with a fake Gucci purse. Have you no shame, girly pop? Massie would absolutely eat them alive. I truly believe that. She would just... So they're in LA while they're there after they try and kiss the David Wood. I'll give it a bite. What was on this page? Emily ran her fingers through her wavy cinnamon brown hair, which had streaks from where she had tried to turn it blonde with Clairol. She pulled it into a side ponytail and leaned in to kiss her crush. She closed her eyes and imagined Davy was just the tiniest bit nervous about kissing her. But before she could even touch his white James Dean t-shirt, alarm bells sounded and the other tourists in the Hollywood Wax Museum glared at Emily and Paige, whose very berry glossed lips were still puckered in Davy's direction. Okay. After they try and kiss the Davy Woodward statue, they go back to the hotel. Lori's like, I'm gonna wash my face and go to bed at literally 6 p.m. There's so much to do and so many people to see, and we're not doing that. Ugh. So while they're watching, they see that Davy's movie is going to be, the after party is going to be at the Roosevelt Hotel. So they decide to go to, whatchamacallit, they decide to go to the Roosevelt Hotel so that they can try and see, Davies. Now, they can't take a taxi because, they've saved up all their babysitting money so that they could buy cool vintage teas from Fred Siegel. They want to buy vintage teas at the coolest store in LA. I don't know what it is about Fred Siegel. One day I will go to LA and I'll have to find all of the stops and all of these books so that I can understand. Does Fred Siegel still even exist? Did the recession kill it? I mean, maybe it's fast. Oh, that is a cute dress. Everything is very cute. Damn it. Fred Siegel definitely still exists. And it's cute. Oh my god. A $300 dress. I want it. Because if you don't follow watch my Secrets of My Hollywood Life series, which is another book series that takes place in LA, and they also talk about Fred Siegel, but it's from a different perspective of someone who's been in the business for, long enough time that she's like, kind of jaded to Hollywood. She still loves it, but she's a little jaded to it. So if you like this series or you want to hear me talk about something and you don't want to wait for the next video, you can go back and check out those videos. They decide to sneak out. I don't know why I threw this in here. Maybe it was something I messed up, but back to Beck's storyline is Beck's friend Austin is going through that awkward puberty growth spurt, and she's just smitten with him. He's taller, he's more muscular, it's all that. She's, you know, little children, your first feelings. That's just so odd. During a Bravo. It's very interesting. Something to look into one day is the different ads you get on different channels. Like, I essentially watch the same channel once a week on cable, and so I see the same ad over and over again. But I started watching things on Bravo, so now I'm watching 2 channels once a week, and I had a turkey. And I'm watching 2 channels, and I'm seeing the difference between like what they're advertising to like 24 to 34-year-old women, 30, and all that, as far as, you know, advertising. And apparently it's Vagisil. VH1 for like Drag Race is mostly like Duvarity for prep. It's a lot of queer. It's a lot. Austin is starting to go through puberty. He's taller, and it's got Beck feeling feelings. He's putting out the vibe. She's putting out the vibe. She thinks she's picking up on the vibes. We will deal with this later. Coco's storyline is that she's trying that over the summer her mother's been trying and training her up so that she's got an audition with bootleg Simon Cowell. The only thing that's changed is that they are giving her a dance partner, someone to take her to the next level. And Cardamom's like, you gotta meet him. You gotta meet them. You know, gotta step your pussies up together. Cardamom is a good mom. Adrian, who is Mac's mom, good mom. Sharktooth McSharkface, good dad. Lori, you know what? I gotta give it to her, good mom. We've got good parents, because Secrets of My Hollywood Life, her mom sucks. Her parents suck. And, like, they suck in an active way. And Massie's parents suck in a passive way. And Claire's dad, I don't even know that man's name anymore. So all the good stuff happens with Emily in the first half. So Emily goes up to the Roosevelt Hotel. Emily and Paige are like dramatic teens. And Paige swears she's an actress. So she goes up there, and instead of acting, she's like tries just for a second, and then is like, please let me in to see Davies, Mr. Man, please, please. And the guy's like, no. No. Please let me in. Whereas Emily passes by and she's like, let me try. And then she's like, okay. And so she goes up there and she acts her butt off. She's great. Can I give it a shot? It's always easier to go second, Emily offered. It's completely useless, but why not? Emily took a deep breath and put one checkerboard band in front of the other and started to walk. It was balmy night in California. Oh my god! It was a balmy California night, and Emily was wearing a tank top Paige had embroidered with tiny silver beads and her favorite thrift store cool Levi's miniskirt. The Vans had been a last-minute addition to help her tiptoe out of the hotel room. In the few steps of her walk towards List Guy, Emily realized that she had absolutely no clue what she was going to say when she got there, and then it came to her. Pardon me, sir, Emily said in a demure southern accent. May I please be let into your party? Name? Corey Woodward, Emily replied instantly. She knew from watching the Davy Woodward E! True Hollywood story at least 23 times that he had a cousin, Corey, from Nashville, Tennessee. Not only that, Corey was about Emily's age and had an accent so strong it almost sounded fake. Les Guy's head popped up on Woodward, and he squinted his dark eyes at Emily, but he didn't point at the street and he actually looked at the list, which made her think she had a real chat. Well, Corey, any reason you're not on my list? Emily knew she had to stay sweet. She smiled like they had been friends for years. There is every reason in the world, sir. I originally told Davy I couldn't come to his party because I was in a cheerleading competition, she said in her best drawl. And he was devastated, she added, stretching every syllable and using a breathiness she had learned from watching Steel Magnolias 100 times with her mom. For days after watching the movie, she'd always say, "I do declare," in her best drawl, apropos of nothing. She'd never thought it would come in handy. The Sky said, considering her story. So why aren't you at the competition? Oh my, you are quite the thorough investigator, Emily said, playfully swatting his arm. You're a cheerleader from the South, she told herself, and you are confident. I sprained my ankle and couldn't compete, Emily invented, shifting her weight onto her left leg to make it seem like she was favoring it, which is why I'm wearing these awful shoes. And so I decided to surprise Davy, which is why I am not on your list, sir. Emily finished with her brightest, most pleading smile. She was starting to believe that she was from the South. Even her sprained ankle hurt a little bit. Girlie, I want to believe you. I'm sure you hear a lot of stories. Let me show you my ID, she said, rifling through her faux Gucci that she'd brought on Hollywood Boulevard for $15. Oh no! This is a new bag, you see. And when I switched purses, I must not have put my wallet in. Les Guy took a deep breath. Emily sensed she was this close. Why don't you call your cousin on his cell? I'm afraid my phone's in the other bag, too. Sorry, sweetie, there's nothing I can do. He shrugged and puffed out his chest, the buttons threatening to pop. It's just frustrating, because my mama let me come all the way to surprise Davy and the rest of our family. Emily said, her big brown eyes welling up, and it was a skill she had mastered when she was just 6 years old. She could make herself cry on command. All she had to do was think about sad scenes from her favorite movies. Rose letting go of Jack and Titanic, the ending of The Notebook. It came in handy when her mom discovered she'd been playing celebrity clothing swap with Paige, i.e., cutting Johnny Depp's head out and pasting it on Nicole Richie's body, instead of doing her earth science homework. A lone tear trickled down her cheek. Emily made sure not to turn around until a tear slid off her cheek. She wanted this guy to see the hurt he had caused. He deserved it for Davy blocking her. And with that, she took 2 limping steps back towards Paige. Corey! She turned. The last guy was looking right at her. Okay, you're in, but you better be who you say you are. Emily's right leg started to tremble. It was one of the things that happened when she was really, really nervous. She swiveled around, cameras were flashing, and there was a build-up on the red carpet behind her. Tan skin and designer clothes as far as the eye could see. She finally spotted Paige watching from the sidewalk down Hollywood Boulevard. She ducked behind the Davy cutout. Go! Emily turned. Paige's head popped up from the Davy wetsuit-clad shoulder like a 2-headed monster. Go! Emily smiled, her legs shaking as Liz Sky unclipped the velvet rope and ushered Corey Woodward inside. Squidward. Max sees this and is like, that bitch is not Corey Woodward. Who is this hoe? Corey's cousin is more like a Honey Boo Boo type than a Steel Magnolia. And you know, this is 2008, so let's keep it together. Mac is like, that's what I need. That is what I want to see. Bah! That is what I want to see. Bah! Very, very, very much what she wants to see. She's like, I'm gonna make this girl a star. She's an actress. My mom needs help filling this role, so I'm gonna fill that role. She meets up with her best friends inside, and Mac is like, guys, oh my god, Beck, you grew, which means I can't stand in the middle of the photo. And it's like catty, but it's like fun. And that's part of it, is there's like a spectrum. There is a spectrum of these teenage girl types. Like, the meanest, worst person to be around. Someone in the middle, and then, like, the other end is Caitlyn. So, Caitlyn, again, Secrets of My Hollywood Life, Caitlin is like so sweet and sugary to a point almost. And like bad things happen to her, and you're like, girl backbone, damn it, you're 17. And then like Claire is like, again, sweet to the point of I feel like she might commit self-harm. Like, girl, get it together. Then there's the middle, and then there's Mac, where she's like a little petty and a little mean and can do some underhanded illegal shit, but it's like MPD, it's Mac, baby. And then on the other end is Massie, who is actually a psychopath. But she's my psychopath, so I don't want to, keep it cute on my beloved bitchy teen girl. So the inner circle meet up and they realize that one of the girls who was annoying before, that didn't stand a chance of running for social chair, has arrived with her new pack of girlfriends. She's lost weight and she's got a good sense of style. They're all going through puberty. When we talk about the body, like, I feel like this is the first book, and that a lot of these books that come out during this time are in the waning years of heroin chic 2000 skinny body, and we really just don't get released from it until the recession, when it's like, bro, you can't afford heroin, your mom's throwing bows. Oh god, please don't drop your drink on that woman. Okay, I guess she's sitting in between them now. Like, you don't have time to buy heroin. You can't afford an Adderall addiction right now. You can't afford rent. So there's a bit of like fat phobia that seems to dissipate from these series once we get your feet into the ground. But also these girls are going through puberty, and I feel like every time I start one of these series, it's gonna start with me being like, puberty, am I right? And the answer is I am right. Being called fat in like an ugly duckling sort of way, when it's just the body's natural changes, and as you grow out and under, and I don't personally see fat as an insult. I understand that it is used as an insult, but it is a descriptor. I'm not a like body neutrality person by any means, by the way. Like but I also am, I'm like, no. So the fact that it's used in this context and I talk about it so often that my brain is seeping with, like, nothing before the age of 20 counts. Your brain's not even close to being fully formed, and the hormones in your body are still doing the chimichanga to try and figure out where they're gonna go. It's fine. I weighed the most I had ever weighed at 18, right before I weighed the least I had ever weighed. And now I've just kind of fluctuated in between that number for the past 5 years, You'll figure it out. There's some people gonna be a little more fuller lifestyle. There are no moral calculations into being fat or not. Ugh. So Ruby goes away, she comes back, she's not fat anymore, and people are like, oh my god. She's going through puberty. She's probably taller, and all of it's, Goldman. Ruby Goldman has always attempted to be a knockoff Mac. Call her a PC because she's always been a knockoff Mac. Now they're about the same size, and she's confident. She's doing all the damn things. She's got her friends, Ellie Parker and Kimmy Tatchman. Kimmy is the biggest gossip in school, and Ellie, who supposedly had a lot of experience with boys. Now Ruby, skin delicious, but similarly to OCD, we have BAMS, and she's running for social chair, and Ruby's got a PR coach, and that's why she's so right and tight right now. She's being molded by this Kris Jenner momager type. Ruby Goldman's dad is not the movie producer. Kimmy Attachment's dad, Ellie Attachment, is. So Mac and Ruby have a standoff at the party about who's going to be social chair. The problem is that my one true advice for any book, truly, and I know like sometimes you have to do it for plot, but I'm always going to say never scheme in public. Why are these hoes always trying to scheme in public? So the girls are plotting in public, which is a bad idea. Don't plot in public. That's my biggest thing, is don't plot in public. I don't care if it's never get caught plotting in a bathroom. If you think you're alone in a cafe, if you're with your mom, never plot in public. Well, Matt schemes a lot in public and gets found out. She's literally never has a secret next move because Ruby's always somehow there to hear it. Maybe they'll deal with that shit in book 2, but right now she's constantly getting her ideas sniped because she can't keep her mouth closed in public. So Ruby, I also enjoyed that Mac has competition. It's not just like Massie absolutely dogpiling, beating the dog shit out of these girls at OCD. You know, fight back, and they do. Massive competition, barely knows how to kick a soccer ball. Ruby takes it and gives it. Mac has been given it and standing in her power, but power isn't given, respect isn't given. You gotta take it. And this is her road to finding her talent. The whole deal is self-confidence and finding your talent by what you're good at. Ruby has a surprise, and she keeps looking at Coco. And it's like, oh no, foreshadowing. Yeah, finally lined up. They have their little standoff, and Mac clearly, handedly loses the standoff. But Mac decides then and there she's going to make this Quarry girl a star. So as Emily is hanging around, she gets tapped. She's absorbing everything and eating little finger foods. And she tells Paige, she's like, I'm going to tell Paige everything. She gets tapped on the shoulder by Mac. And she's like, hey, you don't belong here. I know that you do. You don't. But I like your moxie. Let's talk. Don't worry. She must have come with Davy and not given her name at the door. Nobody else seems to know. Nobody else knows, the girl explains, seeing the horrified look on Emily's face. In fact, she put her hands on Emily's shoulders. She had a smattering of pale freckles on the bridge of her nose. Emily always hated her own freckles, but they looked kind of pretty on this stranger. I was so inspired that I've decided to make you a star. How would you like to work opposite Davy Woodward in his next movie? A star? Emily almost laughed. That seemed like the kind of thing greasy men said in TV dramas, not something people actually uttered in real life. You know Davy Woodward? Emily asked cautiously. If the girl was crazy, she didn't want to say anything that might make her snap. And if she wasn't, well, this could be interesting. I'm Mackenzie Little Armstrong. Call me Mac, the girl said. She took her hands off Emily's shoulders and rested them on her hips. She was wearing a sleek black Vince dress that Emily had seen Jessica Alba wearing in a Who Wore It Best section of Us Weekly. Except Mac wore it better. She's 12. I'm that woman's daughter. Mac pointed across the room at a woman in a charcoal sweater dress talking to Davy in the VIP area. That's my mom, Adrienne Little Armstrong, a.k.a. Davy's agent. Mac added, Emily actually did know who Adrienne Little Armstrong was. She was always featured in those women empowerment specials in magazines and on TV. Mac yelled, Hi, Mom, and waved. Adrienne waved back and gave her a little what do you want look. So what do you think? Mac said confidently and fluffed her blonde mane, a set of chunky wooden bangles clanking against one arm on her tan arm. Emily glanced over her shoulder at Davy, who was hidden behind a beefy bodyguard. She could see his right arm. She knew that elbow anywhere. Next to Mac's mom, I was actually hoping to meeting Davy tonight. Do you think? Not tonight. You don't want to meet him as a fan. You want to meet him as an equal. So she pops her into the car, into the Prius, and her mom is not a producer, is an agent. I'm gonna make you star. She puts her in a car, and unlike Caitlin and Massie, who drive town cars and the Range Rover and all of that, Mac rides around in her mom's assistant's Prius. Her mom's assistant, Erin, is often the one driving her around places. So she gets into the car with Coco and Beck and is like, oh my god, I know who you are, because she knows everything about Hollywood. And Mac's like, you will get to meet Davy Woodward. Let me make you into a star. Well, there's more to Davy. Okay, Emily didn't want to say more than she liked him. She was obsessed. She shrugged and said, yeah, I watched Just the Five of Us. Well, there's more to Davy than Just the Five of Us and Sea Devils. He's making a new movie. Why are my neighbors yelling? Making a new movie called Deal With It. It's about a girl who pretends to be a boy so she can get a scholarship to a boarding school. She rooms with this hot computer nerd, Davy, and they fall in love, yada yada yada. Mac made a hand motion of someone yapping, her wooden bangles bangling together. Problem is, they can't find the girl in Hollywood. Enter you. Where's Baby Arm? Oh god, we're missing a celebrity. Where is she? Oh my god, where's Baby Arm? How could I even think of starting this without you, girl? I can't believe we're almost like 40 minutes in, and I was going to do this without you, girl. Love it. Alright. Yada, yada, yada. Mac made a hand motion of someone yapping, her wooden bangles bangling together. Problem is, they can't find this girl in Hollywood. Enter you. Emily looked around the car and saw Coco and Beck smiling at her. All of a sudden, she had this scary thought. She searched the Prius for hidden gems. The show would be called Stupid Girls from the Midwest. Am I on a prank show? Dude, don't freak out on us. This is very, very real. She clasped her hands in her lap as if to convey the seriousness of the situation. Her head was spinning. Meet Davy Woodward? Be a movie star? Why me? I'm an agent. Erin hummed along to the flute music, steering the Prius around a corner. I know talent when I see it, and you've got it. But I've never acted. How do you think you got into that party? It's easier to get into the White House than to pull off your little stunt. Emily smiled shyly. It had never occurred to her that she was acting. She just really wanted to see Davy. And then she felt a sliver of guilty pride, remembering that she had done what Paige hadn't been able to do. I mean, even if I can't make you a star, which I can, Mac emphasized, it could be a fun way to meet Davy. Do you have a card? They're being printed. She wrote her cell number on a cardboard coaster from the party. Davy's face was printed on it, smiling up at her encouragingly. Just so you know, I don't give my number to just anyone. This is kind of a big deal. So they let her out and set her up. And they're like, okay, well now she's got to tell Lori about her shit. Welcome to Hollywood. She tells Paige, and she's like, don't worry, I'll call you. This is fate. You gotta go tell your mom. Welcome to Hollywood. It's time for the post-party sleepover, like the Pretty Committee does. Have its sleepover rituals. They go to Beck's house and they recap the party. They worry a whole bunch about the social chair. There's a lot of setting up the social chair and why it's important. If I win, that power stays with us, Max said, combing her fingers through her wet hair. But if I don't, not only do we lose that power, it goes to Ruby Goldman. Max said her name like Ebola virus, like COVID. COVID-19, Corona. You know how fun it is to be popular and be invited to all the boys' parties? Well, we're not top tier. You can kiss all that bye-bye. She kissed her MAC polished nails and fluttered her hands to illustrate. Ruby will make sure we're the last to know about everything. Whatever we want won't matter. She'll turn Bams against us. Ruby is mean, Coco conceded. She fired 6 of her dad's assistants, and in 4th grade she replaced the cotton batting in my toe shoes with oatmeal. When I picked her last for dodgeball, she spilled chocolate milk on me at lunch. But of course I was going to pick her last. She was too big of a target. Ruby is a code red social threat. Come on, socialism. Come on, communism. And she knows how to throw her weight around. No pun intended. The girl goes after what she wants. Look at her dancing. Ruby was actually a great dancer. She and Coco would likely battle it out for Bam's dance team captaincy this year. If she says she's got something big to announce on the first day of school, she means it. Here's the deal, Mac began, opening her arms as if she was giving a presentation to the boardroom table. We're at a very pivotal moment in our lives. We're rising 8ths, and this year is all about setting precedents. If Ruby assumes dominance now, that sets a precedence for 9th grade. Ruby will get the reputation of the cool incoming freshman. She made eye contact with Beck and Coco to be sure they were still with her. She'll be the first freshman invited to upperclassmen parties. And 9th grade sets a precedence for all of high school. And before you know it, it's happened. It's senior prom, and Ruby Goldman is prom queen. We don't have a prom queen. That's beside the point, Mac went on, annoyed. What I'm trying to say is that if we don't put the brakes on Ruby now, she's going to steal our spotlight, our invite, our future boyfriends, the life that's rightfully ours. All because we sat back and watched her when we had a chance to stop her. But it doesn't end there, Mac continued, her hands forming involuntary fists under the water. Because then you enter college reeking of the scarlet stamp of awkwardness. And everyone knows that 70% of people marry someone they met in college and makes their most important future professional connections. So basically what you're calling just an 8th grade position, Bex, Mac eyed her friend, is the key to the rest of our lives. Beck dunked her head under the water as if to wash away the bad vibes. Intense, Mac added, nodding. She loved to say random words in a French accent, and intense was one of them. I just want what's best for all of us, Mac finished, too heated to stay in the steamy jacuzzi. She sat on the edge and dipped her toes in cool water. And Lori to meet up with who they think is Adrian, and is actually Emily. She's got to tell her mom she snuck out, but she's like, don't worry, woo! And Erin pulls out some woo to keep her white woman Reiki shit. So it's time for a brunch meeting, but Mama Armstrong is out of town, so she can't convince her actual mom to do it. So Erin comes to do it, and she's like, okay, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to lose my job for you. And then she's like, no, I'll get my mom to come to one of your shows. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. She's totally going to be on board. It's totally going to be fine. I don't know why I wrote this note, but the note says, remember ringtones? I don't know, playing out of an iPhone. Like a first-gen iPhone. This year's going to be crunchy. That's such a weird thing that I put in there. I don't know if my text-to-speech just like died or something, but Mac is in the middle of the meeting with Lori, Emily, Paige, and Erin, and she gets a call from Coco, and she picks it up and is like, what do you need? You got an interview with Bootleg Simon Cowell? Great. Call me back later, babes, and then hangs up and is like, I am so high-powered. So Mac is essentially like, hey, you guys will be here for a week. There'll be an audition. We'll make her a star by the end of this week. Don't even worry about it. Erin does some white woman Reiki whispering to Lori and convinces her to let her stay out here. Well, do this while they're out there. Lori is easily convinced. And I'm reading a book. Why would I want it to be hard? I don't know why sometimes people want things to be more difficult. Sometimes you open a book and you're on the beach and you just let it wash over you. Just whoosh. And you're like, oh, wow. This book is great. 4 out of 10. Okay, so Coco's plot point is that she's a dancer. It's time for her to meet her new dance partner. She's getting all stretched out. And they bring her in, and of course, it's Ruby Goldman. And Ruby Goldman knows how to butter people up. So she's very deferential to Cardamom, and she's just, like, playing nice with Coco. But Coco's still her competition. But they're still kind of friendly. Like, she's not... It's kind of like, you know, how when you were in school and you'd have friends who were, like, on your rec league team. And then, like, you go to school and you've got, like, the friends you actually eat lunch with. And maybe you have friends that you, like, chat with and I am online. It's like that. It's like that. She tries to call Mac during the meeting, but it's a meeting with Emily, and so she doesn't answer, and she's like, well, whatever. She does the spin around dooley-doo, and it's like, what do we do? So this, the plot of this movie that they're getting set up for is kind of like she's the man. She's got to pretend to be a boy to get into the specific school for purposes that was explained earlier that I kind of breezed through. You don't need all that information, besties. About 5 or 6. Cool, I can read. It's important. You know, it's not important. It's a book. It's a movie inside of a book. So, yeah. Out of a bag. So, Emily is with Mac trying to get all set up for this. And she takes some clothing out of a bag, and it's her brother's clothes, and she tells Emily to dress up like a boy and act like a boy. She really delivers on it. It's to do this experiment. Emily opened her mouth to tell Mac that she knew all about LA's coffee shop hierarchy, but instead she went wordlessly into the bathroom to change. She emerged 5 minutes later, feeling silly as she passed the same people who had seen her enter in her normal-fitting cutoffs and her red tank top. No one seemed to notice, though. They were all typing up their screenplays on their laptops. Mac made a beeline for Abercrombie, but Emily didn't follow. Not yet. She quickly ran the mental scan of the guys at the Grove. There was one carrying his girlfriend's Barney's bag, dragging his Nikes like a toddler, who wasn't allowed to go to the park. There was another dude kicking his feet listlessly against the stone edge of the fountain as he talked on his cell phone. Emily shuffled her feet with an unfamiliar laziness to her step. What are you doing? Max said, turning around. She was already several steps ahead of Emily. Emily ignored her and made a couple more adjustments. She shook her shoulders loosely, finding different angles for slouching until something clicked between her body and her brain. She knew she had found the way Jeff would walk. She hung her head and her chin jutting out from beneath her baseball cap and letting her hip bones guide her. Got it, Emily said and clapped her hands once together. And that was what her best guy friend Sean did. Did whenever he made a decision, like ordering double onion pizza or buying the Tony Hawk video game. So moving back onto Coco, to Beck, she gets hit in the face with a football because she's thinking about Austin, and Austin throws the football. She's like, oh my god, that'll mess up my whole deal with Mac, making sure she's dressed properly. Mac isn't as controlling as Massie, but whatever. You know, Mac and Massie's role is the same as number 1 is act like you've been somewhere before. Time to meet up to do an LA makeover, for Emily, and this section has some of the most 2008 outfits I've ever heard. Definitely giving me big old loser in Brooklyn vibes. Very proto twee indie sleaze. It's something. They give Emily a makeover. She's looking very glamorous. They do her makeup. Beck is taking notes because she wants to be better at doing her hair and makeup. She wants to learn. She's a tomboy, but she wants to be a part of the group. They take her shopping at Fred Siegel's because, and this is kind of a taboo for Emily because she was supposed to go there with Paige, experience it together, but no, they are doing it together. And Emily decides not to tell her. They have this spinning mirror makeover moment in the thing. They're trying on clothing. I've got so many clips of so many clothing montages from these doll videos. Just know one of them happens. A stylist, because shopping on the racks is for amateurs. They get clothing pulled, and then Kimmy Tetchman they're going to Kimmy Tetchman's Sweet 13, and that's what they're getting all dressed up for. Fucking Sexy Back is playing. It's the most 2008 scene you've ever heard. Shopping in these books is so important. It's so deeply integral to these teenage girls. And I also love shopping. I am a part of the capitalist mill. So so they go shopping, and it's such an important moment that Emily immediately feels bad for not having Paige there. And Mac is kind of like, you don't need her to be here. And she kind of doesn't, because, I don't know. I know I'm kind of a boxes kind of thing. I have different relationships with different people. But also, this is like work. Like, yes, this is teenage girl fantasy, but in actuality, this is work. And you don't need to bring your friend to work. I don't ever plan on being in a situation where I work with any of my friends. We have different skills, and that is for the best. Keep it separate. They decide to change Emily's stage name from being Emily Mungler to being Emily Schuyler. And they also rip off her friendship bracelet. Normally I'd say don't marry the first dress that fits, but sometimes you get lucky. That is a keeper, Mac nodded, pointing up and down at Emily's lean frame. Totes, Beck said matter-of-factly. She had given up and tucked the pink dress into her boy shorts. One more thing, Mac said, reaching over to Emily. I only do this because I care. And in one quick movement, she yanked off Emily's BFF bracelet. But, Emily, friends don't let friends wear outfit-wrecking accessories, Mac said, reaching for an aquamarine Tracy Reese. Then she smiled like she was a proud mom. Now look at you. You're good to go. Welcome to Hollywood, Emily Mungler. Your last name is Mungler? Beck asked. She said Mungler like she was reading bratwurst on the menu. She took a seat on the chaise. Beck is right, Mac said sternly. She looked at Emily's reflection square in the face. It has to go. What? Emily cried, suddenly protective over something she'd never really given that much thought to. Think about it. Your fame name will be Emu. More like ew. Big ew, Mac pointed out. Mungler the bungler, Coco said. Mew mew, Beck added. Emily looked at Mac, her jaw forming a hard line. Sure, Mungler wasn't the most beautiful name, but it was hers. No one judges you by your name, Emily said defensively, resting her hands on her hips. Sure, because you're white, girl. Sure, Mac agreed easily, pulling the bodice out of the blue dress of her chest. Pulling the bodice of the blue dress over her chest. I'm sure Diane Belmont, Tara Patrick, Deminti Goines, and Eileen Edwards would agree. Who? You know, Lucille Ball, Carmen Electra, Demi Moore, and Shania Twain. Mac coolly smoothed the micro pleats of her Tracy Reese. They obviously thought names were important. Boop bop. She's got the new name. She's no longer wearing the accessory. Who is she? What is she? I don't know. End of part 1. I'm taking a break.
To head over to our Instagram because the polls are live. Reporting live from the Timbaland's tournament of Timbaland's.
Okay, back. We're back. Maybe. Who knows? So they changed her name to Emily Schuyler. They've done the makeover, and now it's time for Mac and the rest of the inner circle to do some social chair strategy. But Ruby catches them and is like, ooh, I got a secret. I got a secret. Can you keep it? Swear this one you'll stay. Très bien, Mac agreed. She reached into her Marc Jacobs tote for her iBook. I prepared a slideshow of the winning social chairs campaigns over the last decade. She opened her white laptop so it faced her best friends. Mac had pulled together this presentation the night she returned from New Adventures. She'd even set it to one of her favorite songs, Ooh La La. Mac booted up the slideshow, and Beck and Coco leaned forward, eager to look. Across the laptop screen, the words Bel Air Middle School Social Chair, a historical and statistical analysis, dissolved into a still shot of the school. It was an enormous Spanish-style mansion with terracotta tiled roof and a Bougainvilleas, I hate hyphens, growing from the classroom window boxes. The camera zoomed in on the three girls seated in the school's blue tiled front steps. 2004 social chair winner Haley Parda sat with her two best friends, her first platinum album in her lap. It was enough to excuse their scarily outdated hip-slung belts. I forgot Harry Potter got elected the day her record deal was announced, Coco said. I thought she was so cool. Haley's glowing face pixelated and dissolved, and suddenly the frame was filled with the new image, Kira Simpson. She was hanging out of the passenger side of her mom's silver convertible CLK, signing an autograph. She had starred opposite Orlando Bloom in the adaptation of A Tale of Two Cities before graduating early from high school and going to Brown. Next up was Emily Searstad, grinning from the LCD screen with her over-bleached teeth. She had written a thinly veiled roman à clef about being raised in Beverly Hills, that she had spent 10 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. Sorry, I guess I gotta Google things. A novel in which real people or events appear with invented names.
Romana Clay.
Max snapped her iBook closed. As you can see, 100% of the previously elected social chairs have succeeded beyond their school responsibilities. This is not just a popularity contest, although clearly that helps. So, I need to make sure everybody knows that I rock. Starting with my campaign slogan. I'm looking for the cooler version of I made Emily Schuyler a star, and I'll make Bam shine too. Any ideas? So, of course, Ruby shows up and is like, oh, I got a secret. Can you keep it? Swear this one you'll keep. Make the same joke twice. Again, don't plan in public. I'm begging you all to. Did it come? Okay. Don't plan in public. Well, what did she do? She planned in public. And so Ruby comes up and is like, yeah. And Coco's like, don't you sell me out. So whatever. They've got a secret. And Ruby's like, you're going to want to pay attention to my secret. And Coco's like, oh, God. So Coco and Ruby are our dance partners. Coco and Cardamom and Ruby have to go choose their outfits for the audition. Some of the worst early 2010s, 80s nostalgia bait bullshit you've ever heard. It's bad. We learn a lot about Cardamom and her philosophy. Like, she always takes pictures with children fans. And she also, even though she doesn't take pictures with with adult fans all the time, she loves to get dressed, but she also likes to appear to be as a mom. She also believes that, like, when Coco's like, oh my God, Mom, you can't make me be dance partners with Ruby, I hate her. She's literally my enemy. And her mom is just like, well, baby, when I was young, my pop rival was, my best friend now was my pop rival. some years ago. Sometimes you hate someone so much because you respect them so much. And she's like, I don't know about all that, but sure, I guess. You know, Cardamom is not really helping. I know that her name is Cardamon, like Cardamon. I've been calling her Cardamom because she is Coco's mother. So maybe your worst enemy can turn to your best friend. Don't even worry about it. You'll learn to love her. I got a prison cough. Paparazzi's all over the place, and Coco's trying to pretend like she doesn't know Ruby in case it comes out before she can tell Mac about what's happening. So Cardamom picks out the ugliest tribute to the 80s. And they're like, this is tired. Whatever. But, you know, they'll deal with it later. Coco really feels like, oh god, everything is going wrong. So this is my favorite part of the book. I love it when the girlies do illegal things. You know? I think that's the beauty of fiction. That's what I like about fiction. I love when the girlies do illegal things. And then they get away with it. Because they're just cunning and smart. I love it. You know what? More black leads doing illegal things. Because it's fun to do bad. It's fun to do hood rat shit with your hood rat friends. I won't do. You know, like, rich people can do illegal shit in fiction because they are fake rich people. But I do not like it when rich people do illegal things in real life because it hurts real people. So, Mac's like, how am I going to make this girl a star? How am I going to make her mom believe that she's a star? So, she sneaks into her mother's room while her mom's traveling to New Zealand, breaks into her mom's computer by hacking her email. She sees an email about Davy Woodward's movie. I wonder if you can hear my laptop. Adrian, per our conversations today, please do keep in mind, if you think of a girl with the chops for it, deal with it. Producers want to lock it up this weekend. Oh, and let's do lunch at Pasillo's next week. I miss you, doll. XOXO. Hall. Mac's heart thumped against her gold initialed locket. In fact, her heart hadn't beaten this quickly since she was 30 seconds away from being the top bidder for a vintage YSL lace-up heel on Netflix, on eBay. This was a coup. The role was still up for grabs. So she calls Holly and is like, yeah, I'm the assistant. Don't worry about it. Don't ask too many questions. I want to make, or my assistant's out. I'm Adrian. I want to set up, whatchamacallit for this girl. Oh, we need headshots. I'll get you your headshots. Afterwards, she's fresh, she's green, you're gonna love her. They're like, okay, we're only gonna do this because it's you, Adrian, and you're good stuff. You know your stuff. So, they're like, cool, you have a audition at 6 p.m. tomorrow, and you gotta get headshots and everything done by that time. So we are moving forward with identity theft. Next day, it's Friday. Emily leaves Paige to go off and deal with some stuff. She doesn't know what it is. Up with Mac. Mac gives her a script for practice for her audition. At 6 p.m. They're literally going to be working for like 4 hours. First time she reads through the script, she is kind of wooden. The next time, she sinks into her sunken place to be like, and so then they have to do the audition for Deal With It. Meanwhile, Emily is ignoring Paige's calls. It's time for Kimmy Attachments. They go to the audition for Kimmy Attachment. They go to the audition, and then they'll go to Kimmy Attachment's party, a true Hollywood party. They run things. Paige texts, and she's like, "Oh my God, no, we're doing like a career thing. Don't even worry about it." She was supposed to meet Paige at Fred Siegel that day to do the thing that they'd always wanted to do, which is, say it with me now, buy vintage tees from Fred Siegel. She's like, I gotta do a work thing. I think this is the closest thing that, like, Mac ever says to, like, being a mean girl. I think the only thing I can dock points on for this is that it kind of felt like all of a sudden they were best friends. They're all treating each other like friends. So when Emily, to me, it didn't feel like that. So when Emily at the end is like, I've been betrayed, I thought you guys liked me. It's like, I don't, okay. And it's like, again, like, Massie Block is like comic book evil. So when she says some shit and then is just like, actually, you should kill your dog because it inconveniences me. Like, you know she doesn't like you. But, like, this is the closest we get to Mac. Oh my God, what's the inside of my nose wet? Hey, I'm in front of Fred Siegel, but I'm not peeking until you get here, Paige said. Emily winced. Yeah, about that. Emily couldn't bring herself to say it. Are you still meeting with... You are still meeting me here, right? Paige asked. That was our deal. It's just that... So you're ditching me, Paige cut in, hurt and anger rising in her voice. I'm sorry, but everything took a little longer than I thought it would, Emily said, and she played with the straw of her empty drink, her red fingernails looking a little menacing now. Do what you need to do, Paige said finally. Your mom and I will watch TV. Click. Don't worry about her, Max said, securing her braid with a ponytail holder as Emily set down her phone. She'll get over it. Besides, you need to start building relationship with people who matter versus people who didn't. Emily nodded, though she couldn't help but picture Paige standing in front of Fred Siegel all alone, waiting for the one person who was supposed to treat her like she mattered too. Wasn't that what best friends were for? Yeah. So, Max and Ruby, do-do-do-do, Ruby and Max, do-do-do-do, Max and Ruby. So, end of chapter. Back to Coco. Coco has to work with Ruby. They start to bond. Ruby brings in some actual fashionable clothing for them to wear at the audition, and she makes the decision that she's not going to let Mac's feelings about Ruby get in the way of what could be the biggest audition of her life. So now it's time for Beck, which Beck gets on my nerves here because, like, Beck, no, I know, children don't have a fully formed brain. That's, no. But, like, Beck is like, okay, I'm getting ready for this party. I'm going to go grocery shopping with my dad, and I'm going to give myself, like, 4 hours to get ready. I hate that. God, why are your under eyes so blue? They don't need to be that blue. But she's like, I'm going to give myself 5 hours to get ready with some extenuating circumstances. And it's like the moment she's not committed. She's not committed. So she gets groceries, she comes back. She's getting ready. She's not having a good time. She can't do a winged liner. She can't curl her hair. She doesn't know how to do the makeup. So she calls Mac. She doesn't know what dress she's wearing, and Mac is like, wear the dress we picked out. Don't, just put some moisturizer on, and a cute little lip gloss or whatever. And don't go surfing go surfing because it's gonna fuck up your tan, and your tan's already perfect the way it is right now. So, of course, Beck is like, okay, now that I know what I'm doing, I don't need 5 hours to dedicate to this. What if I just don't listen to the advice I was just given? What if I do it my own way? Wow. So she goes out and she's slathering herself in sunscreen. She runs into Austin, and Austin's like, eh, bip, bip. And she's like, eh, bip, bip. And so she's like, hey, put the sunblock on my back so that I don't get any more, tanned. And he's like, sure, bip, bip, bip. And she's like, yes, thank you, bip, bip, bip. And, well, we'll see it later, but a thing happens. So, Emily's audition. So they go in, and they're all focused, and they're like, yeah, this is totally you go. She comes in dressed as a boy, so she can really fall into where it is. They meet up with Elliot Techman, Kimmy's dad, Shane Reed, the director, and a woman who's there. She's a woman. They're sitting around, and they decide, like, cool, bring in Davy. They bring in Davy, and then Emily's like, cool, what scene are we doing? And he's like, no script, improv. Emily's like, head empty, no thoughts, what do I do? But she's like, I'm gonna make it work. So she nervously cowabonks Davy in the head. They giggle and laugh about it, and then they go into the scene, and Davy's a really good scene partner. He's like, don't worry, have fun. And they get the nerves out. Improvisation occurs on page 112. You really know how to put a guy in his place, Davy joked, rubbing his nose. Shane laughed, and the others followed suit. Just as Emily was about to panic, she spotted Max smiling, as though this was all a part of the plan. That's just how I roll, she said easily. The room erupted in laughter again, so I guess this is improvising. Seriously, I'm sorry, Emily whispered to Davy. Don't even worry about it. Just be careful with the kiss. Should we get started? Davy asked the room. Everyone nodded. Emily took a deep breath. If there was just improvising, she was just going to have to tap into her character. She paused and shuffled her feet like she had the day at the Grove. She swung her shoulders low and tilted the hat down so they covered most of her face. And then she felt that familiar click. It was as though the audience of Hollywood people vanished, and once again, Emily was Jeff, totally alone in the room with Davy. She was so absorbed in acting that she actually stopped thinking about what it would be like to kiss Davy. But not totally, because for this role, she wasn't really Jeff. She was a girl pretending to be Jeff, a girl who was both desperate to stay in character and to break out of it. There's something I have to tell you, Emily said with a deep from her gut voice that she had used for Jeff. What's up? Davy said. His reaction was so natural it was hard to tell if he was acting or not. It's hard to explain, she said, slowly shoving her hands in the pockets of her baggy jeans. Dude, just say it, Davy said, half impatiently and half nervously. Emily looked at him for a moment, as a girl pretending to be someone she wasn't, but wanting desperately for the boys she liked to see the real her. Maybe I'll show you, Emily said in her... Maybe I'll show you, Emily said in her normal voice. She took off her cap and let her cinnamon hair tumble down her face. You're a girl? Davy froze, too stunned to move. Emily didn't think. She just reacted to Davy. I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you. I wanted to tell you. Letting the ache and longing filter into her voice, she leaned closer to him. I don't know what to say. Still not moving, you could practically see the thoughts racing across his character's face. And then, without even thinking, Emily put her hands on Davy's shoulders. You don't have to say anything. He leaned in, slowly, and their lips touched. Her first kiss. It was 3 Mississippis long, and when she leaned back, she let her hands rest on his shoulders an extra second before she let go. After they pulled apart, they stood staring at each other, both too stunned to say a word. And, you know, it's her first kiss. Her first kiss. And it's with Davy. It's gotta be great for her and her feelings. Shane, one of the directors, is like, yeah, we got our girl. I like her. So she's really excited. And they're getting all their stuff together. And Mac is still lying about Adrian little thing. And you know what? Whatever. Adrian will be back in the office on Monday. NBD. They got the new role. They got the star. She's going to be social chair. She's going to be the first social chair publicist, which is kind of like being like, I don't want to be a pop star. I want to be a stage manager. Bum, bum. And you know what? We love stage managers. They do important work, but it's just such an odd thing for her to be hanging her like superstardom on. I know part of it is because it's also her mom's job, so she sees the value in it. I just think it's funny. Bum, 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 bum. Because you know what? Welcome to Hollywood, Emily Schuyler. So, of course, everything is going too well. And, I'd like to share something with you. Take a walk with me. Take a walk. I don't really remember the plot of Cheetah Girls 1. Like, you know, Raven wants to be, you know, go to the talent show. And all the girls aren't always putting in all the work. Raven takes it very seriously. She makes the outfits, you know, the choreography and all that. The girls just kind of show up. So I don't really remember the plot of that movie. The dog gets trapped in a sewer grate, but whatever. When I think of Cheetah Girls movies, I think of Cheetah Girls 2, the one in Barcelona. And in these types of books, I think of this part of the book as the don't say that it's over. And if you're familiar with the songs of Cheetah Girls, you know. But it's the section of the movie when Adrienne Bailon's character is like, her mom's getting married and she's like weirded out by it, so she's not focusing on the group. And the Sabrina's character is dancing with a guy, doing hip-hop dances, and then Keely Williams' character is just there, but they're all, you know, not focused on the thing that Raven Simone's character is on, and she's like mad at them. She's like, guys, we came here to win the pop concert in Barcelona. Step up. And they're dramatically walking through, and they're singing, Raven singing into a fountain. She's just like, don't say that it's and it's, you know, I don't, you know, it's in my head, but I don't fully have it there. But that is this part of the book. It's the section before that to the end where they're like arguing, and then they're like, don't say that it's over, and then they come back together and they're like, cheetahs, sisters, friends for amigas, cheetahs, friends for life. I know things. And that is how I break down these teen middle grade books in this vein. Is this what part of Cheetah Girls 2 are we in? So we are entering the don't say that it's over arc. Things are going too well. So the girlies pull up to the party, but Beck is late. So it's Mac, Coco, and Emily pulling up to the party. Mac and Emily got dressed in the croix on the way there. They are going to, Coco's there on time, Beck is late. They go into the hotel. It's little girl's sweet 13, and you know, it's essentially a bat mitzvah. They go around, it's Lion King, the Broadway musical theme, which is so interesting. But again, it feels that feels like we are dancing around the idea of a bat mitzvah, but okay. The girls go around, and then Beck arrives. They see that their table is in the back in the hyena section, which is iconic to be like, for Ruby to be like, I don't like these girls. Hyena table. They decide not to get that down. Emily is quite easily integrated into the group, and Mac is excited. She doesn't fight it like Massie does. She's like, oh my god, my inner circle is expanding. This is a good thing. It's a positive thing. The girls all dance to the electric slide because that's their thing, and they're all together and they're dancing around, and then Beck takes off her pashmina, and you can see that she has a burn, a suntan burn on her back in the shape of the letter A. Mac is pretty pissed. And backtracks into being like, why didn't you listen to me? And then Beck is like, oh my god, why are you so controlling? And I'm like, I feel like that's a reasonable ask. To be like, hey, you asked me what I thought was best, and I tell you, and then you actively defy it just to do it, to be with a boy. Oh my god. So it gets backed up, and Ruby's there to stir the pot, and she's like, oh my god, you don't know? You don't know? But she turned her bareback face Mac, and what Mac saw made her want to throw up. Beck was totally sunburned, and in the middle of her bright pink back was a giant pale A. Someone had deliberately formed the letter with strategically applied sunscreen. There was no way that Beck could have or would have sun tattooed herself, and not with an A. Mac crossed her arms and glared at Beck. What? Beck stammered. The evidence is on your back. I told you no surfing today, and you although didn't listen. Beck's face turned red as her back. What? No, Mac couldn't believe Beck was lying right to her face. If you're gonna be the social chair, aka control all of our social lives, it might be a good start by keeping tabs on your friends, Ruby cut in sarcastically. Mac had almost forgotten she was there. The other electric sliders continued to dance around their small cluster, moving through the steps as they pretended to dance, but secretly watched the Ruby and Mac showdown. Thanks for your concern, Mac said fake sweetly, but my friends and I tell each other everything. Hold up. Oh, really? Ruby said, blinking her over-mascaraed eyelashes. Ruby's green feather boa matched her emerald green dress perfectly. Mac wondered if she had known Kimmy's decor choices in advance and had planned her outfit around them. Well, Coco's probably told you about her new dance partner, right? Some random girl. See you later, Ruby. She turned her back towards Beck to finish their conversation. You know, I've been called a lot of things, Ruby mused, twirling a lock of her long blonde hair around her finger, but never some random girl. Mac knew from the look on her face that Ruby wasn't lying. Ruby was Coco's dance partner. Mac's eyes widened back and forth from Coco to Ruby, and then it hit her like a back-to-back tidal wave, and that Ruby's big project was auditioning for Brigham Powell with Coco. Her best friend had known all along what Ruby was up to and had kept it from Mac. Even worse, she was dancing with the enemy. I've been trying to tell you, Coco said helplessly. The final chords of the electric slide were winding down, but nobody was dancing anymore. A small crowd had formed around the inner circle, Ruby and Ellie whispering and pointing nervously like the dance circle had gone bad. I guess you didn't try hard enough. Which, bitch, you kept sending over calls and voicemail. Take some personal responsibility, homie. Hot off the presses, Kimmy said, waltzing her way through the crowd where Ruby, Coco, Mac were exchanging stony glares. She waved her NV phone in the air. Producers are going with Anastasia Caulfield as the lead in... Could I have said that word worse? Anastasia Caulfield as the lead in Deal With It. Kimmy smiled, reading off the screen. My dad's assistant texts me all the variety headlines before they go to print because he knows I love to know what's going on, she said, then spotting Emily. Kimmy covered her mouth. Oh no! I'm sorry. Really? I just remembered you were... Emily smiled gleefully. Anastasia Caulfield, huh? She repeated, looking directly at Mac. You may want to think about your campaign slogan, Macadamia Nut. For the first time, Mac had nothing to say. Nail in the Coffin. The studio has picked Anastasia Caulfield to be the lead and deal with it over Emily Schuyler. And you're like, oh my god, that feels like that should be a lie, because we literally heard him say, well, that's my girl. Well, everyone's feelings are hurt, and Emily's not going to get to be a star, and there is no next time, because Mac gives up too easily. That's like her whole thing, is she's been looking for something to make her special, but she refuses to stick with anything if it doesn't immediately serve her. So, this is not going well. So it's time to end it. They all decide to leave, being like, I'm leaving too. I'm leaving 3, which is like the most unserious way you can leave an argument. Good luck with social chair. And Mac is very much alone. We are now in peak, they've started singing the songs as they stare at the water in Barcelona. So it's the next day, and Emily is back with Paige. It's supposed to be their first time going to Fred Siegel for the vintage teas. But the magic is not there for Emily, because she kind of wishes she had spent her first time with her friend. Because obviously Mac isn't her friend, but she had a really good time that first time. I think it could have been remedied by bringing Paige along, even though Paige is hard local. She wishes it was with her best friend. She also doesn't want to tell her best friend that she went without her. Because it's like, she can't even be like, it was an inner circle thing. Because it's one thing to run lines and do acting. It's another thing to intimately shop with someone else. It's clearly coded. But like, shopping is something you do with your friends. It's something you do with your loved one. For me, as a girly who loves to shop, I don't take certain people shopping. I think they ruin the experience. And especially sharing an experience. If I find a place that I like shopping, call me a dirty commercialist, because I don't think I think people should be paid what they are worth, and thus living a livable wage. And I feel like if people are paid what they are worth, and things cost what they are worth, then you don't buy all the things. Consumerism becomes less of a problem if, buying, like, consumerism bad, but also the world is on fire in our current economy. But in my dream world, people are paid what they are worth, and thus things are paid, and thus you can afford to be like, I want 3 of those shoes. And things are produced in an economical way, in an ecologically sound way. It's not just like vibes. Because that's part of the problem, is, I love shopping and had like a Shein phase, but like, that's not reasonable, because these people, A, they're using lead paint in the fabric. B, the clothes are not, it's just not, it's not good to buy from Shannon. I like fast fashion. I like fast fashion in theory, because I feel like having nice things and dressing in a way that you want to dress shouldn't be exclusive to people who can afford it. Like, that way. However, the problem isn't, the circular problem doesn't start with, people being able to buy from Shein. It starts with the fact that people can't even afford the opportunity to buy clothing that is more morally upstanding, and being you just can't, it's like, I can't be mad at you for buying the $2 shirt. You can only afford the $2 shirt, or the $2 shirt is the only shirt that comes in your size. Before the expansion of sizes for a lot of places, me could not buy things. It was weird. They were not fitting in shirts. They were like fist fighting, and I was like, okay, I guess. So like, I like clothing. I feel like you should be able to buy shoes and it not be a moral quandary. I think liking shopping isn't something that makes me a bad person, because I just like things, and I like art, and I like collecting things. I'm a little magpie. Short and stout. Hand me the shiny shit. I want it. But there's like a thing with shopping where you're like, you do that, you don't, like, I will say I don't go shopping with people who are annoying to shop with. I'm not gonna go shopping with someone who's like, I don't want to go to the Anthropologie because it's expensive. And it's like, yeah, we don't have to buy something from the Anthropologie. We are appreciating the art. It's the same reason I find Urban Outfitters to be frustrating, because Urban Outfitters, I literally walked in there, saw something that I had seen at a Marshall's for $12, and it's, like, the tags were the same for $12 at the Marshall, and it was $30 at the Urban Outfitters, and worse, it was $24 at a bespoke store in the mall, claiming that it was handmade for $24. So, like, not all shopping experiences are the best, but this is, you know, ethical, trying to be ethical. And, like, you just want to share an experience with someone, especially if it's something you've talked about. Like, that doesn't make you a shallow teenage girl. That makes you someone who cares about things. And, today's video essay recommendation comes from Spectrum Pulse and his hour-and-a-half long video about Justin Timberlake and the process of cool. And in which he talks about cool and what makes someone cool, and the origins of cool. And he talks about stoicism, which you can also check out Abigail Thorne's video about stoicism. There's kind of this rejection of anything, and that's the thing. It's like, I am a zillennial, so I'm between these two, and I find ironic, like, hatred of things to be boring, because a lot of the media in the 2000s that I grew up with were Gen Xers being like, everything's bad, the world's on fire, why should we care? And it's like, and then, like, millennial hopefulness, while cringe, is a much better way to live than, like, man, it doesn't matter, fuck my mom. It's like, chill. So, wanting to go shopping and caring about things is not unethical behavior in a vacuum. And also, it does not make you a selfish little girl. It, you know, let girls enjoy things 2024. Again. Yeah. Yeah. So, she's like, she knows that she's in trouble if she lets, if she tells her that she's already been shopping at Fred Siegel without the people she was supposed to go there with. And also, Emily hasn't been wearing the matching outfits with Paige, and Paige confronts her about it. It's like, why aren't you wearing the clothing we made? And she's like, I think it's kind of stupid. And it's like, yeah, that's harsh, but also, you got Girly Pop in a matching hand-sewn outfit in LA when you're trying to, like, meet celebrities, but to them, it wasn't about being discovered or being cool. It was about having fun, and that is kind of taken away when you take away their little matching outfits and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, it's a little rude, because Emily is kind of rude to Paige, especially that, like, introductory paragraph where she's like, everyone would say that she's a less hot version than me. And it's like, okay, alright then. Alright, Rachel McAdams. Okay, Lacey Chavert. Like, was that Amanda Seyfried who actually says that quote? I'll just name all the girls. Alright. I almost said Amanda Bynes. Alright, Lindsay Lohan. So it's like, I know it's gonna come rude, like, the words forming out of my mouth, the thoughts in my mouth, and, like, your homespun clothes is not good enough. But, like, this is a work thing. Like, Emily's there for work. She's like, she was there for pleasure, but she's been discovered, so it's like a work thing. So being like, my clothing's not good enough, it'd be like me showing up like this to a job interview with my culotta, with my boobs out. With my boobs. just being like, well, it was good enough for the Target section. It's like, some things are not appropriate. Get it together. And it's not even like Paige has some like personality quirk where she's like, we're gonna change Hollywood, or Hollywood's so superficial and we're gonna change it. No, these are people who love Hollywood. They love stars. They like get stars. So I don't know what, I guess she just doesn't see her friend as a star. And her friend's not a star, but like dream a little. I don't, you know, man. So, well, we can wear whatever potato sacks you want to wear. This is work. They fight because she's like, I didn't know you didn't want to be dressed up the same as me. And she was like, I thought it was kind of lame. And they're, you know, this is not very LA. And Paige is like, you're being a major brat. And it's like, we're not 5. No one thinks we're twins. So they are just fighting and fighting in the Fred Siegel. And Emily's like, you're probably happy that I didn't get the role. She's like, yeah, because you turned into a major drama queen. Paige leaves Fred Siegel, and then proceeds to ignore her best friend for the rest of the week. And after Emily technically ignored Paige for the entire week. So she's like, no one made me ignore my best friend, but it's like, he wasn't, I don't know. I'm an adult, but I also like talk to my best friend, so I can be like, hey, this could be really big for my career. Do you mind taking a back seat to this? Because if like I make it, then like we could in a private jet. But if I don't make it, we'll just be back to flipping burgers. Like, you know. Period. But like, reach for the stars. Okay, so time for Coco and her audition. The whole point is that Brigham Young, the Simon Cowell knockoff, wants Cardamom to get back into the studio and record another album. Cardamom is not interested. She wants to be a Cardamom. So bootleg. So when it's time for the audition and Coco messes up her audition because she can't stop thinking of Matt, she excuses herself to go vomit after the audition. While she's in the bathroom, she hears Simon Cowell's reject and Cardamom talking, and they're like, Ruby has it. Your daughter needs a little bit more time. Coco is quite beaten up over this because she's like, I messed up. Like, no one else made me mess up. I messed up. And she's like, Ruby's gonna get social chair because she's on her way to being a pop star. Brought or no? Because we can probably assume her daddy did bribe this because money seems to be the currency. So she's like, ugh, I've ruined everything for myself. Mac is now having lunch with Mama Armstrong, and it comes out what she did, and her mama's like, you were super duper grounded. And JV's like, I don't even like Anastasia. She's not a good actress. But they explain that they're going with Anastasia because she has wide appeal to the demographic they're going for. She puts butts in seats. So it's a bummer, but like, sorry for the other girl, but whatever. Davey admits that he really liked working with Emily. And that's how it comes out that she's like, who's Emily? And she's like, you know, Mac's friend. And she's like, Mac's friend that you were trying to sell me on earlier. Mac spells it out, and the slow clap, and her mom is like, maybe me and my mom will work together. We're gonna be iconic together. It's gonna be great. And her mom's like, you were super duper grounded. So grounded. Deeply, bombastically grounded. And her mom's like, you can't do this to me. She's like, I can't reward dishonesty, even if she is good. You lied. Mac's gonna white girl. She's gonna white girl. And so they have their little tiff off. Alright, so now it's time for Beck's section. She's like, I don't even have to listen to Mac. I'm gonna do what I want to do, which is surf. I'm gonna surf, and then I'm gonna surf, and I'm gonna surf. So she gets out there, she puts on a cute little outfit over her bikini to go and meet up with Austin. And guess who's there? Ellie Parker, Ruby Goldman's friend. Yeah, Goldman's friend, minion, and her C-cup boobs. Because the worst thing you can do in the last year of middle school is have boobs. Because teenage boys will steal some girl's boyfriend. And now you're a home-wrecking homewrecker who homes wrecks with your home and wrecker. So she sees this, and Austin kind of ignores her to giggle and tee-hee with home and wrecker Ellie Parker. They go surfing, and Ellie's not good at it, so Austin has to help her. And instead of being like, because, you know, there are different ways to gain validation from boys, and the way she was gaining validation from boys was through her skill as a surfer. He respected her as an equal, and to see that it's so easy to get his attention by being bad with boobs, she finds that frustrating. I can understand why that's frustrating, but that's also not her fault. Don't let yourself become prey to misogyny. So Beck calls Coco. Coco's like, can we solve this problem with a sleepover without Mac? They're like, yeah, totally. So they have themselves a little sleepover at Beck's, at the beach house. Alright, so it's Saturday. Mac is like, okay, we're gonna have dinner with the girls at Chateau Marmont, and we're all going to apologize to each other, you know, Mac style, where, or Massie block style, where everyone somehow apologizes to Massie for some reason, even though she's literally a monster. She gets there, and then it's 30 minutes later, and no one shows up. She's like, oh my god, they're actually mad at me. We're at the peak of the song. Don't say that it's over. She's singing. They're at the high notes. They're staring at wistfully, and they're like, is there anything I can do to fix this? We're getting there. We're getting there. So she's like, everyone knows when you're seated alone for a half hour in a popular LA restaurant, everyone's going to be thinking about me. And I'm like, girl, you're 12. So, end of chapter. Mac is crying on the way home. End of chapter. Emily sneaks out of the hotel again, and she's like hustling. You think maybe she's gonna hustle over to Mac? No. Nay. She hustles over to Fred Siegel right before they close. She takes all of her babysitting money and buys her she buys Paige a vintage shirt. When she comes back, her mom is like, you cannot keep sneaking out without telling me where you're going. This is getting too much. She's like, I bought you this shirt. Paige forgives her and is like, it's perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Mac is texting her, being like, where are you? And she's just not answering. She's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm just going to focus on my best friend. And then they end the trip the way they started the trip. Because their flight leaves in the morning, by watching Entertainment Tonight while Lori settles in to listen to The Secret. Tomorrow they'd be back in Iowa, and Emily would never ever forget the people who really mattered to her. Her bumpkin ass family. So back in Coco and Beck are attempting to have the slumber party without Mac. They need Mac because she brings all the movies normally. And they're all, they're a triangle. They're a triangle. And they're trying to be a parallelogram. You'll trust me that those lines meet up. You get it. You see the vision. They need each other to balance each other out. Everyone's together in their failed endeavors. Alright, get ready. So, switching back to the first Cheetah Girls movie, we're actually at the part where the dog ends up in the manhole, and they see Galleria on the big screen on the news singing to the dog to keep it conscious. I don't know why they think the dog would be unconscious or why it's a bad thing if it falls asleep, but whatever, they have to sing to the dog to keep its energy up. And so then all the girls get there and they sing the song and they miss the talent show, but the talent show is literally showing Galleria singing to the dog. So yeah, so we're at the running through New York. Keely Williams' character takes the subway to get there. Like, she's real true friend potential. Alright, running through the airport scene. Mac's mom wakes her up in the middle of the night. It's actually not the middle of the night, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, but same. So her mom is like, oh my god, I watched the girl's reel. I watched Emily's reel. She's good. We gotta get her back. And they're like, her flight leaves at 9. I'm like, I guess we gotta hustle. They book it to the airport. Emily, Paige, and Lori are getting ready for the airport, but Lori is obviously stalling. And guess what? A little Prius rolls up, and it's Adrian and Mac coming up to be like, don't go! I am gonna make you a star! Excuse me. There's always time for more. We can try again. And Adrian Little Armstrong is like, hi, I'm Adrian Little Armstrong. And Lori's like, no, you aren't. We don't have time to unpack all of that. No. So they talk and they're like, oh my god, you're gonna do it. And Paige is like, oh my god, my best friend is gonna be a star. A star! Emily, we're gonna make you a star, Mac said. She held out her small pastel pink gift bag. Emily looked at Mac, not sure whether to take the peace offering. She already heard the star line once before, but Mac was looking at her with such vulnerable, eager hope in her makeup-free eyes, her blonde hair whipping messily in the chilly morning air. Chilly early morning wind. Emily knew that Mackenzie Little Armstrong wouldn't be seen in public in her pajamas for just anyone or anything. Emily took the bag from Mac's extended hand. Inside was an iPhone. Emily took the bag from Mac's. We're gonna need to reach you 24/7. Mac grinned. I promise I'll pick up. Emily grinned back. My best friend's gonna be a star! My best friend's gonna be a star! Paige yelled, bear hugging Emily. They jumped up and down on the curve of LAX as the other tired travelers turned to look. Emily grabbed Mac and pulled her into the hug. It's just going to take me a little longer than a week, Mac said as they pulled apart. You said it yourself. There's always next time. Emily smiled. She was just glad there was going to be a next time. So Mac is like, I gotta go get the girls back. I gotta get the squad back together. Now they're all, assuming next book, they're all going to be like synced together. So Mac's to-do list for Sunday is to get her friends back. They drive out to Malibu, they grab some donuts, and they go to Beck and Coco. Mac has an extra key into Mac and Coco's house, so they sit around and they talk and they apologize. Mac? When they slipped quietly into the screening room, Coco's French bulldog Madonna snarled at Mac. No, it's not really. No, I like them. No. Empty packages of Nestle Toll House cookie dough and Paul Newman's microwave popcorn littered the floor. Mac? Coco asked, sitting up and rubbing her eyes. Why are you here so early? Madonna jumped up and sat on Coco's lap protectively. Yeah, Mac, why are you here? Beck asked. Her strawberry blonde hair plastered to her cheek. She sounded more surprised than Mac. Mac sighed. She walked over to one of the screening room refrigerators and took out a large bottle of Orgina, pouring it into 4 champagne flutes. Emily took a seat on the couch behind Coco and Bex. And why are you here, Emily? Weren't you leaving this morning? We had an impromptu meeting at the airport this a.m. Mama Armstrong saw the tape and is going to rep Emily, who's living with me for a while, until her mother can move out from Iowa. Matt quickly explained. She had to get down to the business at hand. Mac sat down on the couch next to Coco. Madonna licked her hand tentatively. I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you last week. You tried to tell me so many times and I was super MIA. It's great that you're dancing with Ruby. I was dancing with Ruby, Coco interrupted. I didn't get the deal with Brigham. Ruby did. A solo deal. Apparently the only thing wrong with me with our duet was me. Well, you dodged a bullet, Max said, jumping up from the couch and startling Madonna. She'll burn out and you'll twinkle forever. She'll be a Brittany and you'll be a Christina, Max said, handing a glass of Orgina to each girl. And Bex, she pivoted her to face her other BFF. Why didn't you just tell me you liked Austin? You called him rough, Bex said flatly. I thought you thought he was a total loser. Better him than Jenner, Max said flatly and peered into the box of donuts. She pulled out a chocolate cruller. Well, it doesn't matter anyway, Beck shrugged. He's with Ruby's newest follower, Ellie, now. Oh, pshaw, Max said, ripping a piece of donut with her teeth. We'll get you Austin. I mean, if that's what you want. And Coco. We'll make Ruby sorry she ever put on a leotard. Then Mac turned to Emily, and Emily said, and you are going to be the next big thing. Actually, since I'm new in town, I'd also kind of like a friend or two, she added, looking shyly at Bex and Coco through her fringe of cinnamon brown bangs. Deal. Coco and Bex nodded in unison. Me too, Mac agreed. I'm just your friend who takes 10%. She winked. And you, Mac little A, Coco said, getting up from the velvet couch, are going to be social chair. Mac beamed at the inner circle, which had expanded to 4, feeling so overjoyed she might burst. She had friends. She had her talent. School started tomorrow, and it was going to be the best year ever. Hello? Bye! So they've all set up what we're going to do in the next book. So Beck's got to get Austin back. Coco's got to get get back at Ruby or become her own star in her own right. Emily has to become a star. And Mac obviously has to become social chair. I'm going to see you in book 2. Let's look at the acknowledgements because they're last in this book. So our next book is Almost Famous, which I will see you for in 2 weeks. We're doing these in 2-week increments because they're kind of short books. They're not too bad to go through. So I'll see you in 2 weeks for, Almost Famous. I'm also doing these very much in advance. Like, whatever video, I'm going to have different hair in like every video that like comes out because of how these are being filmed. But whatever. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at one of 2 @ Megan_blush_. But I'm also thinking of making another Instagram for this because I don't want to, it never does well on my beauty Instagram to have like talking about what video I'm working on coming out there. And I've started using the community tab like whatchamacallit, like I used to use Instagram where I'm posting stills and things, and Instagram doesn't really reward that, but I still want to do it, so I'm gonna, and I just want to have a place to do that that's not going to kill something I've had and have been working towards since 2018, 2019. So it will be linked in the description. If anything happens, you'll know. All right. Bye, guys.